things get started. Hopefully everyone is having a great week here. A short week with Labor Day weekend. Look, we're on episode 51. That's crazy. That's so wild. You guys, yesterday I had a ton of fun doing an unboxing of some Miller canvases for you guys. If you haven't seen episode 50, I want you to go back and watch episode 50. It was really, really cool to see my little girl actually get a chance to watch her dad open up some prints and to see herself out there. So 2 of you are here. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a hi. Give me some hearts if you guys are watching right now. Look, today, you guys, check this out. 10 podcast episodes are in the queue for you guys. We've been working our tails off here. I guess I should say I've been working my tails off here, my tail off to interview a ton of amazing professionals. Some are photographers, some aren't. To get out to you guys. So those are going to be going live. The next one that's coming up is going to be Nick MacArthur, and she is incredible. I went ahead and I bumped her all the way up to the beginning to get her into you guys ASAP. So Nick MacArthur is coming up, and it's really good stuff. So anyhow, you guys, hey, Nate's here. 5 of the people are here. Here's the deal. We're on episode 51 already of Six Figure Live. If this is your first time joining, the entire goal of Six Figure Live is to bring you behind the scenes at what we do at Style & Story Creative, Six Figure Photography. We're just literally at the studio right now. So we're in Columbus, Ohio, and just the day in, day out kind of stuff. And so we're meeting with brides. We're making phone calls. We're editing pictures. Today I'm editing. And Chad DeBlasier's in the house. Chad says, dude, that mustache is coming in strong. Dude, come on, man, give me some slack. I got to shave, I know. So here's the deal. That's what we are about. My goal is to help to give you guys value in any way, shape, or form. We have the podcast. If you're not aware, we have the SFP podcast that goes out weekly to you guys. If you're liking what's happening with it, leave a nice review. I would love to read some positive reviews from you guys. And we're just putting that out there to help you guys out in any way, and to bring in other professionals who know what they're doing, or at least have opinions, to help kind of push you guys. And sometimes it's challenging. Not every interview, I don't imagine, is going to be like home runs every single time, but I hope there's a glimpse. I hope there's something that you take away each time. So here we go. Episode 51, we're going to jump right in and hop into the intro video, and then we're going to start editing some pictures live with you guys today. So without further ado, intro video. Hopefully we got audio. Let's do this. No audio. Oh, well, such is life. The times that it works and the times it doesn't, it's literally a roll of the dice, you guys. All right, man. So here we go. Hold on. Hey, Steven, help me out. Whoa, we just got super meta there for a second and echoey. Okay, you guys. Yay, Morgan, I'm so glad that you came to the Abundance Workshop. We're going to jump right in. I'm going to start editing with you guys. This whole week's been thrown off because of the holiday weekend and all kinds of shenanigans. And so normally we edit on Wednesday or edit on Tuesdays. It didn't happen. So I'm going to edit live with you guys today. I actually have some images that are going to be going out to a bride here next week. And I've already been kind of working on them. And so I figured I would just bring you guys kind of in on the process. And so let's jump right in, you guys. So here's the deal. As I'm taking a look at these images, I grabbed a body of work that I thought was challenging. I thought it was interesting and challenging. And so there's a wide array of imagery that we're going to see here. So we're going to take a look at a nice formal shot with a single window light. We're going to take a look at a image that was taken by our second shooter that's entirely washed out in the background, black, pretty much you can't even see them. We're going to take a look at this shot right here. It's pretty clean in camera, nice clean lighting. I'm going to talk a little bit about also what I was thinking about when I was shooting this. This is a lovely portrait that I took right as the sun was setting with the water, and I love the depth here. I love how dark it is. So we're going to kind of jump into this. Mike, dude, Dude, awesome, man. I'm glad you checked out MagMod. For those of you who don't know, Mike, I appreciate it, man. We've got a lot of supporters of Style and Story Creative and SFP, and so MagMod is a company that we use actually, and we were using MagMod for this shot here. We were also using a MagMod gel and light kit for this shot here, and so if you don't know, MagMod is what's up, and they love us. And if you use the coupon code SFP, all capitals, you get $5 off. So, Mike, I'm glad that you took advantage of it, man. I don't think I get anything from it. I guess they just they know it came from me, and then who knows? But that's cool, man. I'm glad you used the coupon code and you took advantage. All right, you guys. As per normal, we're going to be using the Style and Story Creative Paint Kit. This is a set of presets that I've developed that I don't know how else to say it. They freaking rock, and I'm going to show you live how we use them, and you can see it exactly right there. If you're interested in them, they're on the Tools of the Trade page for the Six Figure Photography blog. They're right there if you want to check them out. But let's jump in. So we're going to start with this nice clean shot. You know, there's nothing too fancy that's going on here, and yet I want to clean it up. I want this shot to be amazing, and so I'm going to start with the base coat, go to a top coat, and then I'm going to actually auto white balance. I actually really like the algorithm that's happening with the auto white balance, and I like to start with it just to see. Additionally, we have a white dress with a single light source, so I can just grab this and sample her dress, which is an even better solution. I'm going to kind of straighten this out just a hair. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start to remove some of the distractions and actually make this image even a little bit moodier. A couple of things that are bugging me, you know, maybe I could take that guy out. It's too big. Let me minimize my grab. I think that candle's kind of bugging me. You know what, actually? Yeah, let's see if I can grab it. Again, you guys, as I'm doing this, it's going to be a little bit of a trial and error. You're really getting to see how I approach doing some of this stuff. And it's not always like a one-click thing, especially as I'm doing this. These are going to be a little bit more towards the side of like a portfolio edit, and so it's not going to be, you know, bulk editing that's taking place here. It's going to be a little bit of a slower process. One of the things I like to do is I like to spot remove and I like to layer it. So you saw I used the first tool there to remove the actual candle, and now the second tool I'm going to use and actually remove that shadow there. It's not exactly perfect, but it's much closer than where I was at. And now I can actually go around it again and actually pull up some of the imperfections there that were happening in the transition. So that was 3 spot removal tools layered on top of one another to actually create that look. The next thing is I actually just want to push all of this back, though, a little bit darker. And so we're going to just start to slide this back and draw attention right to our bride. Maybe not quite that far, so now I'm going to go back out and I'm going to erase out a little bit of what we started to do there. That's cool. I don't mind this window, but I think it could be kind of neat, like, to see what this would look like if we kind of pull this out a little bit. So let's try it out. We're going to start pulling all of this down and do a little bit of that. That's kind of cool if we just kind of remove that source. It's pretty dramatic, but I don't mind. I kind of like how dramatic it is with just that one light right there. So before, after. Yeah, I'm feeling that. She looks perfect. I mean, the skin, everything, the lighting is just so flawless. By the way, you guys, I did a short lighting on her, and so I turned her away from the window, then brought her face back over her shoulder to look out this window, and it created this nice short lighting. When I say short lighting, I mean it lights the narrower side of her face, and so the broader side goes to shadow. She's already thin and gorgeous, and so it helps to show that, helps to keep her looking thin and gorgeous versus if I were to have broad lit her. So I actually, I'm cool with this. I like that as is. It's just a nice, clean, simple, like, formal portrait that we just kind of really cleaned up. So let's move on to the next shot. This is going to be one that's just a mess. All right, you guys, and I'm showing you this because, look, it's humility. Like, you come back from a wedding and not every shot you don't rock, you don't nail it. And what do you do when you run into a tough situation? And so I think it's kind of helpful for you to see what I would do in a tough situation. So we're going to start with the paint kit. We're going to go with a black and white. I chose black and white right off the bat because there's going to be a lot of grain in trying to pull this up. We're going to see. Victoria says, I know this isn't Q&A Friday, but when you're shooting, are you shooting while keeping the presets in the back of your mind. No, Victoria, I know my presets kick ass no matter what. And you'll see, to be quite honest. And so I'm not shooting with the presets in mind. I'm just shooting with exposure in mind. I'm just shooting with people's emotions in mind. And so, no, I mean, I would have shot this no matter what, like just as is. So I didn't underexpose or overexpose or do anything differently as I was shooting these scenes. I was just like, yeah, that looks good. And then this one, I was like, hey, I effed that up, but let's see what we can do to fix it. So I used the black and white preset to start. Right off the bat, when you click on it, I mean, it's garbage. It looks like you might as well throw it away. And so we needed to start pulling up the shadows here. And as we start pulling up the shadows, a couple problems start to happen. Number one is the contrast gets dramatically reduced. And so perhaps what we could do is we could actually hop into maybe you know what? We could try to dehaze this. So Lightroom ended up producing a dehaze feature, which when you see the telltale signs of dehaze, reduce of contrast, oftentimes because of a backlight situation, right, where the light starts to wrap around your subject and haze up the image, you can go in and start to dehaze it. All right, so I'm going to start there. Next up, I'm going to do a gradient right over them. And as I do this gradient, I'm going to want to introduce the contrast back in and now bring up the exposure and the shadows a little bit more. Okay, and I'm starting to actually begin to preserve this image. Now there's a couple weird things that are going on due to the dehaze, and so I might actually reduce this dehaze a little bit, and maybe to the next thing is I'm going to start to brush this around. You guys got to be careful with these gradients because they can start to do weird things when you leave certain areas touched and others not. Okay, so that's kind of interesting. I'm generally liking where this is going. Let's do a brush. Right now we're losing contrast in her hair, and so maybe I can bring some blacks down and introduce contrast selectively back into this bride's hair here, just to get some of these blacks back where I feel like they're missing. Okay, let's keep going here. A little bit of that, and this is going to take some work. You know, I messed up, and so we'll erase back off of there. Okay, cool. So that's getting somewhere. Now I don't like this line, so I'm just going to take a brush, and I think I might just pull up the exposure on that and just make this just all white back there. All right, and I got to be careful because I started to get his hair a little bit. Again, don't get lazy. Watch your brush work. Okay, cool. So we went from this to this. I accept. I'm happy with that. Is it perfect? No. And is it grainy? Yes. I could do a noise light removal from the presets. But it's totally usable, and it's a great image. I wish I would have shot it right in camera, but it gets the job done. So let's keep moving, you guys. Nice clean image. Not too much to say. I ended up closing the doors, shooting through them. There used to be a vase here with some like weird like plants that were growing, and it just cluttered up the image. I didn't like it. So let's just jump right in. We're gonna go. We're gonna do a base coat. We're gonna do a top coat, and I'm gonna do to start with an auto white balance. Man, this is. I mean, I could deliver that just like that. This is before. This is after. What our presets are doing, they're really producing a little bit more of a pop to the imagery. So I could go ahead and bring over all the highlights down if I wanted to, and then grab a gradient tool and draw more attention to the couple right here in the middle. Your eye tends to be drawn to the brightest part of a scene. So now that we have this on the couple, I could just pull up the exposure hair, maybe the highlights of hair. And this now is so before, after, just kind of pulls your eye right to the couple. So before and after, I don't need to do much more than that, you guys. It's just, that is good to go. I'm super happy with that. Let's take a look at now a very different image. I chose a very broad selection of files for you guys just to show you kind of the versatility of what we're doing. Lots of different kind of approaches and ideas here. So for starters, the very first thing that's bugging the hell out of me with this image is the horizon line. Anytime you're seeing horizon lines, guys, I have a problem when they're not straight, so I've got to fix that first. I have no problem with Dutch tilting it occasionally, but if there's a horizon line, then no, I absolutely have a problem. Let's now go base coat, top coat, And we're already going to start to see how that just began to pop the image. Now, I intentionally focused on the water with this. Hey, Leslie, what's up, girl? My wife's watching. That's always encouraging. So I intentionally focused on the water with this image, and created this. I think it's gorgeous. I love the depth. I love how sharp it is. So you're going to see, because I focused on the water, I shot at f6.3. That's because I didn't want the couple to go to complete fuzz, like complete blur. I wanted to be able to see them a little bit, see their interaction. I love her hand on him. I love everything about it. I'm going to bring the highlights down and really kind of make this image a little bit more filmy. There's going to be no whites. I'm going to intentionally clip my whites and leave the whitest white a little bit more of a gray. Pull these shadows up a little bit. I'm liking this. I could pull up the exposure maybe a hair. Now I'm going to go in and I think, too, it might be kind of cool to introduce, I'm going to try global clarity. When I say global, I just mean like overall, universally increasing the clarity. And this is, again, I think I can get away with it with this file. I normally am cautious of globally raising clarity. But because they're out of focus, it just gives them a little bit of pop. I think there's something kind of sexy about it. I'm now going to bring down the highlights even more in the sky. I'm not worrying too much that I'm brushing over the client because I'm going to erase back out. So I'm going to bring down the highlights here a little, and I might even warm them up just a touch. Yeah, about like that. Now I'm going to go back in and erase back out. If you hover over top of your brush, you're going to see the red where it's laying, or I can click down here and I can see where it's at. And so now I'm just going to go back in and pull all the shenanigans out of here. And so let's get rid of it there. Let's get rid of it on our gorgeous bride. Right, let's get rid of it on our handsome bloke right here. Anybody else use the word bloke out there? If you don't, you should start. It's a really great word. Okay, cool. And now we can take away that. So I kind of dig that. It's kind of nice. So we've gone from here to here. The clarity might be a little harsh on the couple, and so I'm going to take a brush, do one more brush, and I'm actually going to pull the clarity back off the couple just a little bit. And so just kind of pull it back a wee bit off of them. So I just pulled it back. So there we go. I like this. I like how dark it is. I like the drama behind this image. You know, I think there's something that's really exciting about it. It's very moody, but it goes along with the theme. You know, everything is about context, you guys. When do you backlight a bride? When do you shoot dark and dramatic? When do you go backlit, airy, bright sunlight shots? And it's all about context, context, context. And the sun is setting. It's the end of the night. The focus is on the water. These kind of like dark waves are rolling in. So the context of this image, it has that mood to me. And so I can really kind of play that up with this image. So before, after. I love the pop that's going on. Let's now take a look here. This is a first dance shot, not edited yet. And I really dialed this in, and I'm super excited about the coloring that's gonna come out of this image when we get into it. Frederick, thanks, man. I really appreciate it. Thanks, my bro. Thanks for the encouragement. So let's go ahead and do base coat, top coat. Again, when you start right off with the presets, they tend to make things a little bit darker, and so usually you've got to maybe bring up the exposure a little bit. Because everything goes to black so much back there, I'm just gonna go ahead and bring up the shadows here. Let's kind of pull down the highlights a little. Man, I love these colors. If I go auto white balance, it's going to do weird things, right? So just like really goofed everything up. So this is not a candidate for auto white balance. All right, so let's see here. Keep going with the exposure. Man, I love these colors back here. The red that we're seeing. I'm actually going to just take a brush tool and knock the guest down a little bit here. And then I'm going to kind of universally maybe go back and bring everybody back up a little bit more. So I didn't like how much the spotlight was on them there. It was coming from the client and hitting them. And now in the background, I'm going to pull my highlights up a little bit more, pull my exposure up a little bit more. And yeah, I dig that. I might erase back out a little. Let's kind of feather this out. So I'm going to grab an erase tool, a nice broad feather there, and we'll pull that. I'm gonna do like a side gradient here. Push these guys back a little bit more. They're just still a little bit too much in there, and I'm gonna give them a little bit more violet. They started to pick up some green. Man, I love this shot. This is looking really cool, you guys. Let's go ahead and give this some clarity, just a touch. And now I think the couple is just the tiniest bit hot on exposure. So I'm going to pull this down just a hair. All right, cool. Morgan Kinzel said, let's see what you said, girl. Did you say that you use Magma to get these colors? How close do you have to be with your flashes for that? So there's a lot of light sources going on in this image, okay, you guys? Lots going on. So let me make sure that we're good here. Real quick, he's getting a majority of the light, and he's just generally whiter. So I'm going to erase back off of her. She has gorgeous, gorgeous skin tones, a little bit more tan than him, and so I'm going to pull this off of our bride and just knock things back on him a little bit. And you know what, too? I think I love her skin tone. It just needs a little bit more magenta in it, so I'm just going to give that. So to answer your question, there's a lot of light sources going on here. Obviously, they lit this place up, right? This is actually at Cedar Point in Sandusky, Ohio. If you've ever been to Cedar Point before, roller coasters, this is the very first wedding that's been at this venue. And so they had some lighting up here that was creating this lovely rim light. We had video lighting up because we were shooting video as well, all the uplighting and then flash on top of it. And so with our mag mods, what we're doing is we're putting a single light on a stick and we're gridding it. We're using a mag grid, and it's keeping the light focused on the couple rather than spilling everywhere all over the scene. This is before, after. By the way, as you take a look at this, notice what I did. I made the lightest part of the scene the client, right? Right now your eye wants to go to here, and I push them back. I push back the highlights, and so your eye instead, boom, goes right to the client. It's a really subtle thing, you guys, but you have to make sure that you're aware of it. Knock back those highlights where they're distracting, and make sure that you're intentional, not just with your composition and your lighting, you're intentional with your editing of where you want your subject's eye to go. So I'm digging this shot. I love the colors going on. Anyhow, light on a stick, 6 feet up in the air, single 600 flash, any speed light will do, with a mag grid on it. Put the grid right on the client. You can gel it with a CTO gel, and you're good to go. We do tend to keep this maybe about 10 feet away from the couple or so, and gets the trick done. Frederick says, are you using the mouse or a pen Wacom tablet? Does it make a big difference if only working in Lightroom? So great question. Frederick, I'm using a mouse and a Shuttle Pro V2. This is a Contour Shuttle Pro. If I could show you guys. Oh, wait, I can show you guys. Check this out. It's kind of attached right now to the cable. Give me 1 second. Hey, do you guys have a Shuttle Pro that I could show the audience? Give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to show you one of theirs. Mine's taped down, so. Are all of ours taped? They're all like wired up, you guys. So here, let me move my camera down. There it is, this thing. I've got each of these buttons programmed to do exactly what I want. So when I'm editing, I never have to look at my keyboard, right? If I want to do Control Z, if I want to do, I've got like a single, like if I were to press this button right here, it's going to create a gradient for me right off the bat. And I don't have to look down at my computer. I don't even have to click on a bunch of stuff. I can just press a button and my mind knows exactly where it's at. Really, really, really speeds up editing, especially when we're talking about bulk editing. It's awesome. I've got a whole class that I teach on editing, and it's actually, I think it's released. I'm trying to remember if I released it out to you guys or not. But with the presets, with the StoneStreet Creative Paint Kit, there's an option. I've got like a huge Lightroom class where I teach exactly how I edit and also how I bulk edit to move very quickly through an editing process. Rather than there's kind of two ways of editing. There's portfolio edits, one-off edits where you're really spending time. That's what we're doing today. And then there's bulk editing when you come back from a wedding. You've got 2,000 pictures to edit. And how do you do that efficiently? So I have entire systems for that. And the Shuttle Pro V2 is one of the keys to that. I actually give out all of the buttons, all the programming that I've put into it for you guys to use. So anyhow, I think check it out. I've got to make sure I actually release that to you guys. So okay, cool. Mike said, I missed what you said. Was that the grid or a snoot? Mike, I don't use the snoot. I own a snoot, but I really don't use it. We use the grid all the time on a wedding day. The grid is like our favorite tool from theirs. All right, so this is a shot that we did. We used the Canon 600 with the Magmod grid behind. This is the father of the bride, two son-in-laws, and lit them up. Could this have been better? Absolutely. But they were drunk and they weren't giving us any time. And so we just had really one shot to get this. I'm not a huge fan of the way that the shadowing is occurring. It's kind of interesting. I don't think I like it, though. Long story short, we got what we could get. We moved quickly. And so this is done with two light sources. We used, like I said, a gridded Magmod behind them. That grid allowed us to keep the light focused really just in this area. And then we had off camera, I think we actually were using, man, I'm trying to remember if it was another flash or a video light. I think it was another flash. Anyhow, let's edit this thing. We could try two different edits. We'll go base coat, top coat. We'll start with color. We'll pull. So one of the problems is, let's do a auto white balance and see what happens. Okay, cool. So one of the problems anytime you're backlighting smoke and all this stuff is you're just going to get lots of blues in there. I think there's going to be some issues when doing this in color. We could go in and take the time and start to kind of paint out some of this blue and neutralize it, warm it back up. But I wonder if it's, I mean, it's kind of working. I like it. I wonder, though, if this just might be a better shot in black and white. So that's kind of cool. I just added some clarity to that smoke to give it really some extra punch. I'm not a fan of the fall off here on this blow. I meant bro. I'm not a fan of, because the light source is over here, this guy's lit a lot more. So maybe we'll try to bring this back up a little bit, especially kind of into some of these shadow areas. Yeah, again, I really wonder if this just might be a better black and white image. But again, don't know until you try. So we're going to knock this back, erase that part back out of there. All right. Yeah, that's all right. I think I'm going to crop in to kind of center these guys. And then again, I don't like this railing back here, how it's getting lit right now. So I'm going to pull those highlights off the railing, pull the exposure down. Cool. Maybe do a little bit of that. Take away a little bit of that green on it. It's getting too green for me. And we'll keep pulling it down. Yeah, so here we go. This is an option. And maybe this guy needs a little bit more contrast and a little bit more warmth. So I'm going to give him more contrast and pull shadows down in his face. He was starting to get washed out. This is an option. It's not a bad option. But I'm going to go ahead and create a virtual copy of it. By the way, here's before and after. So before, here we go. Before, wait for it. Come on now. There we go. Before, after. It's all right. Let's do a virtual copy, and I'm just going to go black and white on this hog. We've already done lots of work to it. If we click that, that's all right. Let's pull the highlights down a little, shadows back up. When it's black and white, you can really start to get away with some clarity shenanigans. So I'm going to go a lot heavier on the clarity option. And let's bring a little bit more attention to this guy here. His highlights on that side of his face. We'll pull up just a little bit on Dad too. Cool. You know what? It's just a better black and white. It just is. There's just a better mood to it. So I dig that, and we're done. So before, after, I'm a fan. So let's go ahead and just like hop back through these, you guys, for you to see some of the stuff. Here's the black and white edit, the color edit, the original. Here is my edit, the original. Again, just look at where your eye goes. Boom, boom. Your eye goes right to the client here. I love how it does that. I love the colors. This image it's a simple edit, but man, it just gives it that pop. There's a dimension to it. It's a very it's a film-esque look, but it's not film. Before, edit, or after, before, after. Just got rid of some of the green cast that was going on, and again, just drawed attention right to the eyes, and kind of harshened up our blacks a little bit. This is before and after, just showing you guys like a worst case scenario and what you can actually do to save an image. Before, after. And then just a nice, clean, elegant shot before, after. And again, just staying in Lightroom. I don't get into Photoshop. I really don't. I just want to keep things clean as much as possible and keep things moving quickly. So, all right, you guys, that was episode 51. Goodness, I guess that's it. We're going to come at you tomorrow with Q&A Friday. And so the way that this works, drop questions in. We're going to go live for you guys. Ask questions. If you worry that you're not going to be able to show up live, shoot me a message on the SF, just right on this page, Six Figure Photography page. Shoot me a message right there, and I'll make sure to answer your question. But I'm really looking forward to it. This is my opportunity really to get a chance to get to know you guys a little bit better. And so show up, say hi, give some thumbs up, give some highs, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Cheers.